Hammer time.
Fade to black. I mean, if you love action, it looks like Alita Battle Angel's delivering that.
It's chock full of it. This is based on the popular 90s manga series, and it stars Rosa Salazar from the Maze Runner movies as a cyborg who wakes up with no recollection of her past life, and she is befriended by a kindly doctor played by Oscar winner Christoph Waltz. Now, this is chock full of eye candy, great visuals. I enjoyed the world building. I'm a sci-fi fan, so I always am a little more lenient towards these kind of movies, I guess. The production design is impeccable, and the visual effects are stunning, I have to say, and a lot of motion capture in this one. But I did have some issues.
Okay, what are the key issues with this? Is it oversaturated with the action sequence?
Yeah, a little bit. It's plagued by these crazy action scenes, and then in the smaller moments where you're getting the story, the emotional beats, the character examination, it is so awkward and clunky. And part of the problem, it's co-written by James Cameron, and I love him as a filmmaker. When it comes to dialogue, he has no finesse, so everything's just laid out for you on the table. There's no subtlety to it, and I couldn't connect with these characters emotionally. Part of the problem is, Riaz, we refer to it as the uncanny valley. That's when you have a lot of CGI people and computer graphics enhancements with anything to do with the human form. You get lost in it. Like, you see the eyes and the face of the main character there, of Alita. I don't have an emotional connection with a lot of these characters, so it ends up just being too animated for me. The movie is also directed by Robert Rodriguez, who's done things like Sin City, Desperado, Machete, the Spy Kids movies, but it lacks his signature stamp. I just feel like it could have been, you know, no offense, but like anyone really putting this together. So a lot of cooks in the kitchen, but it doesn't come together cohesively.
I guess final question, if you're unfamiliar with the series going back to the 90s, is this accessible to someone just walking straight in to learn about it?
Yeah, because of the obvious nature of the narrative and the way they just spell everything out for you. Fans of the movie, when they got out, they were delighted by it. I didn't follow it, so I had a tough time connecting with it, as I say. And it wastes a lot of talented actors. Mahershala Ali, Christoph Waltz, Jennifer Connelly, you saw them in the clip there. They don't really have anything to do. Blatant sequel setups, shoddy writing, and awkward pacing. I'm afraid.
How many?
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5 to start.
It's like a Kinder Egg with no toy in the middle. You got this great outer shell, and it's hollow in the middle.
You should trademark that.
15-year-old Thor would have loved this, but old bitter man Thor, old Two-Hammer we used to call him, on the account of he didn't like every movie.
Standards keep going up.
That's right.
Okay, this one's timely for the winter season.
Okay.
Arctic.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen, he's in the Arctic Circle after a plane crash, and he's got the big dilemma, do I stay here in relative safety, or do I try to make the treacherous trek for help? Take a look. Yeah, you probably don't want to see a polar bear paw print when you're stuck in the Arctic. It's just Mads the whole time. Well, mainly, I don't want to give too much away, it's mesmerizing. It is totally engrossing. There's moments of such tension in this movie, and he said it's the toughest shoot he's ever done. I've never enjoyed Mads more in a movie, and it was shot in 19 days in Iceland, and first-time feature director Joe Pena, he's a Brazilian musician who rose to fame with a YouTube channel where he'd be playing guitar and stuff, and now he's a filmmaker living in LA, and this is an astounding feature debut, and expert pacing as well. It doesn't get overly sensational or melodramatic, and I just love the whole dilemma. Do I stay here with the shelter of the plane, and he's able to get food and, you know, find fish and stuff like that, or does he go and try to find help somewhere else? And yeah, there's another character introduced. I won't say how she enters on the scene, but I loved every frame of this movie.
Does it kind of have the feel what Tom Hanks did in Castaway, but just with a different backdrop?
No, because that movie, it much like the expository dialogue in Alita, had to, like, you know, spell everything out for you. This reminded me more of a Robert Redford movie from a few years back called All Is Lost, where he's stuck on a boat in the ocean. And this just proves you don't need a lot of dialogue to make a riveting, compelling film. And a lot of his backstory, certain things aren't really explained, so you're left to fill in the gaps. And I always love that when it lets the viewer sort of decide things for themselves. See this on the big screen. If you're you know, not feeling the winter weather and you don't want to see something like this, I understand, but it's a great film.
How many hammers?
4 out of 5.
That's the one to see this weekend.
You got it.
All right, the reviews are done.